fading away. Silent star from the black sky, falling down, down, down. Whispers from the oceans, fooling around.
It's Off the Cuff. Welcome back. Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. Welcome back. If you're hearing some background noise, my apologies, but it's fucking hot around here today, and so the AC's going. That can't be helped, so I'm sorry about the background noise. Also, my girlfriend's home. Normally, if I was doing a show at home and it was hot, I would turn on the fans and just deal with it, but she's home and she's going to be hot too, so it's not fair to her. So, excuse the noise. Welcome back, everybody, on this, the year of our Lord, 2014, April 9th, is it? Yeah, that's what it is. Welcome back once again. Good to be back. Got some exciting news coming up. I've got some guests lined up, hopefully, for next week, actually. It's going to be a trio of young actors. And we're going to be talking about acting stuff a little bit. I know not the deep, hard-hitting issues that I don't normally do anyway, but, I thought it'd be something a little change of pace, something a little fun. And, I can take some promo pics and we can cross-promote one another, It's synergistic, man. Today's show, we're talking about Let's Sue Everybody. Why not? Everyone's doing it. But before we get into that, I want to talk about food a little bit. We all know the United States is incredibly, incredibly wasteful place when it comes to everything, as far as I can tell. But one of the biggest wastes that in the United States is, in fact, food. Specifically, food that is meant to go to our schools. Okay, and it's not that the food isn't going to the schools. The food is getting there. It's just not getting eaten. Okay, just right here in Los Angeles, for example, in the Los Angeles Unified Schools, district students, okay, they serve, just in my neck of the woods here, Los Angeles Unified, they serve 650,000 meals a day to kids, in public schools out here. That's a lot of meals. That's, it's breakfasts and lunches, right? Of those, they estimate that roughly $100,000 worth of food is thrown out every day, uneaten. In some cases, not even been into. I was reading this one little story here about some girl, let's see, she goes to one 16-year-old Paris Jackson, who's barely touched a turkey burger and apricots and just tosses it away. I mean, she gets in line. She's offered the food. She accepts it. She doesn't eat it and then proceeds to throw the vast majority of it away. And it's not just here in Los Angeles. I mean, it's also in Boston. They did a survey about 4 schools in Boston where they estimated that 40% of all the food that is served to the students ends up in the trash. Now, for Los Angeles, just like I said, Los Angeles, Unified Schools, that equals $18 million a year in wasted food cost. All right? That is amazing to me. And it's all over the United States. It's not just here. They're estimating that roughly $1 billion worth of food goes uneaten in the schools, in the public schools, and it's just thrown away. And we have a couple of problems here. Okay, for this one we can thank a lot of it to Michelle Obama. Now, Michelle Obama and the First Lady, she is very, very health conscious, and she wants to really, impress upon people, especially young people, the importance of good nutrition. Because, as you know, we have an obesity epidemic in this country. Kids are getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter every fucking day. All right? I mean, it used to be when I was growing up as a kid, there was me and all my friends, and then there was the fat kid. Okay, there was the fat kid. I mean, the fat kid was more than likely a friend of mine anyway, but everybody knew the fat kid, all right? He was the fat kid. There was my buddy Jamal. He was the black kid. There was me, the kid with the big nose, and then there was the fat kid. We all knew who the fat kid was because there was only one of them, all right? But now, these days, you go into your typical, public school or private school, and it's like you're looking for the skinny kid. Where's he exactly? Apparently, the obesity rate in this country for kids is ridiculous. So Michelle Obama decided that, she wants to present healthier meal items to children in public schools. And it's been documented that the more often you present healthy items to children, the more likely it is that they'll eventually start to pick up good eating habits. The problem therein is that leads to a lot of waste because, at first those kids are not going to fucking take it. I mean, let's face facts. The average kid does not want to eat fruits and vegetables. They want pizza. They want burgers, okay? They want fries, And, they don't want apricots. They don't want apples and oranges and bananas. And they don't want arugula and kale and beets, okay? They don't. If we live in a fast food nation. But because Michelle Obama wants us to present kids with healthier options, it used to be that the public schools had to present the kids with an option of a fruit or a vegetable. Now they have to present them with options of fruits and a vegetable. They have to offer two things to the kid to have, a fruit and a vegetable, which of course leads to a lot of fruits and vegetables going in the garbage. So you think to yourself, what if they're just not hungry? Maybe they can take it home with them, give it to their brother or their sister. Maybe their mom likes apples and tangerines. Who knows, right? Well, they're not allowed to. Under federal law, public school students are not allowed to take school lunches and breakfast foods home with them. Okay? So as they're leaving the cafeteria, they have to dump out the food that they don't eat. All right? Now, in some cases, the food that's not eaten can be donated to local charities, soup kitchens, stuff like that. But they limit the number that they can. So, boom, there you go. You can't get rid of this food. You have to just toss it, which I think is a damn shame. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't offer kids healthier options when they're in school, but I think that this is another case where we have to once again ask the parents to be responsible for their kids. One of the things that my girlfriend and I were talking about just the other day was the fact that here in the United States, it used to be kids played outside. I mean, really think about it. When I was a kid, unless cartoons were on and it was daylight, I was outside, okay? My mother would have to put a GPS on me to find my ass because I was outside. I was playing stickball, I was playing tag, I was playing hide and seek, I was playing with a rock and a stick, whatever it was. I was outside, I was playing, I was running, I was climbing, and me and my friends, we were all thin as fucking rails, And, the food options we got were pretty much food options, that my mother has today in her house, We're Puerto Ricans, so it was a lot of, Puerto Rican style food, pasteles, salchichón, alcapurrias, let's see, arroz con pollo, habichuelas, it was Puerto Rican food, which is good damn food, but a lot of it can be a little on the heavy side, a lot of it can be on the greasy side, but we worked it off, man. I tell you that right now, we worked it off. And these days, though, kids don't play outside. A lot of that has to do with, they have their video games, they have their social media, their Facebook, their Instagram, their Twitter. Exactly why a 13-year-old needs a Twitter account, I don't know who's following a 13-year-old other than, say, a pedophile. But, they do, right? And they stay at home, and they're on their computer, they're on their social media, and they're on their playing their video games, and they don't go outside. Then you couple that with the fact that they don't want to eat their vegetables and their fruit. Well, of course they're going to be a bunch of fat little fucks, aren't they? And it's sad because and you can't necessarily just blame the kids for this. in a lot of ways, you can have to blame the parents because these days kids are not allowed to go outside. I mean, really, seriously, if you think about it, parents are paranoid. Everybody's paranoid that that their kid's going to get abducted and gang raped or run into a Catholic priest or some shit like that. Something just as bad. And so their kids are not allowed to go outside anymore because everybody's afraid that their kid's going to get abducted. And I'm here to tell you, it's really not likely. I mean, they come up with all these figures every year of, this many children are abducted and never seen ever again. You end up in the back of a milk bottle or whatever. And you know what? Yeah, it's a tragedy. These hundreds, if not thousands of kids that, disappear every year. But I'm here to tell you, statistically speaking, it's a very small number, and it's probably not going to happen. Okay? Yeah, okay, that would suck if you say, you know what, Joe's right. You know what? Jimmy, Johnny, Jenny, you all kids go out play outside. Where are Jimmy, Johnny, and Jenny? I don't know. What did you do? I sent them outside to play. Oh my God, how could you? So, okay, yes, it's a risk you take, but you can't protect your kids from everything. And by keeping them inside, not allowing them to play outside, they're turning into fat little fox. And so the only alternative is after they come home from school, you got to spend time with them. How about that? So after you're done with 8 or plus more hours of work and you serve the little fucks dinner, you got to go outside and play with them, okay? You got to take them to karate class, and you got to take them to Little League, and you got to take them to soccer practice where nobody's allowed to win and every game ends in a fucking tie. You got to do it, all right? And parents, you know what? You don't want to. You really don't want to. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, yes, everybody should spend time with their children. You have a kid, you might as well play with it, okay? It's pretty much what my mother told me when she got me a puppy. It's like, well, you got to play with the fucking thing, It's like, you can't just get a puppy and ignore it in the corner. No, you got a puppy, you got to take it outside, take it for a walk, play with it, Let it know it's loved. Same thing with kids. So, yeah, I'm not offering an answer to the whole food waste thing here, other than really what I always offer is that, it starts at home. You want your kids to eat healthy, then you have to impress upon them that they better eat healthy, that they're going to eat the food you give them. It's much like my dog. I was talking to a dog trainer, very famous dog trainer here in Los Angeles about a month ago. And he was telling me that, people, give their dogs all this special food, these $40 bags of dog food that only have like a pound of food in it, but it's like $40 for this specialized dog food because the dog is very finicky and it won't eat, regular kibble or all this other shit. And he just looked at me and says, you know what, Joe? I've never seen a healthy animal die of starvation when there's food right in front of them. Okay? Doesn't happen. All right, I got friends of mine. They've had a dog now for a couple of years, beautiful dog, but they have not gone on vacation out of town in years because they believe that the dog will not eat while they're gone. And I'm like, you let his little ass starve long enough, he'll eat. It may take 2 or 3 days, but sooner or later he's going to go, oh fuck, this is it. I'm going to eat. They're not coming back for a while. I better eat something. And that's what it's like with kids, as far as I'm concerned. When I was a kid, my mother told me to eat liver. I didn't want to eat liver, and she made me sit at that fucking table until I ate the fucking liver, or my stepfather kicked the shit out of me, and then I ate the liver. So don't give me any bullshit about your kids are finicky or they're willful or whatever. You know what? It starts with you. You teach your kids good eating habits. They go to school with good eating habits, and then they eat the fruits and vegetables that are offered to them. And guess what? We're not wasting $1 billion worth of food every year in the trash cans. All right? Let's go with that. How about that? How about that as a solution for you today? It's about time to take a break. Today's music is brought to you by Proteus Noir. That was their first song, All Around. And here's more Proteus Noir with their song, Don't Talk to Me. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back.
Don't talk to me and pretend to understand. Something is calling me again. It makes me fly, it makes me cry. I'm trying to find a reason why I can't see anything.
And once again, Joe the Shirt is back and off the cuff. That was more Proteus Noir. Apparently he's trying to bring back the 80s. Okay, our topic today is let's sue everybody. A lot of lawsuits out there. A lot of some would say frivolous lawsuits, and some that really aren't. Here's one of the big ones that has come up lately. About 100,000 people are suing Apple, Intel, Intuit, Google, and a bunch of other Silicon Valley companies for collusion. Apparently, these big companies, led by Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, not really a person of the people, by the way, apparently they colluded into non-poaching agreements with each other to keep salaries low for their employees. Now, this is basically what happened. Okay, let's say Steve Jobs, was still alive, and this actually happened. Okay, Steve Jobs was, in his reign of terror, and somebody from Google calls him and says, "Hey, Steve, Becky Sophomore came in. She works for you in such and such department, and she applied for a job here, and we think it'd be a good fit, and we want to know if it was okay with you if we made her an offer." And then Steve Jobs would go, "Fuck no. I don't want you to take Becky Sophomore from me. You tell her that you're not going to give her a job, and then that way, if any of your employees are trying to leave your company and come to me, I'll tell them the same thing. I'm not interested." And basically, this is what all these companies did. They agreed not to hire each other's employees, make them better offers. I mean, you think about it. You work at one of these companies, and there's a good chance you're making a pretty good living there. It's called the Valley of Millionaires for a reason. And there you are, and you've got this job, and you're doing okay with it. But then you think to yourself, if I went over to Intel, I could use the education I got more specifically to the job opening that they have. I mean, they have a job opening that really works for me. This is like related to what I do, but it's not exactly what I want to do. But they're offering me a job that is something I want to do. I want to get a job over there, and they're offering me more money. So then you go there, you apply for a job. They call your boss. Your boss tells you no. Tells them, "No, I don't want you guys to hire this guy. I want to keep him for myself." And boom, you don't get hired, and since no one else will hire you, you've got nowhere to go. So when you ask for your boss for a raise, he goes, "Well, fuck you. I'm not giving you a raise. If you don't like it, go somewhere else." Oops, that's right. You can't. Nobody will hire you. You're effectively, they had they blacklisted their own employees from each other. So that way, they kept their salaries lower. Now, the lawsuit is asking for $9 billion, which translates roughly to $90,000 per employee. It's a class action lawsuit. Now, $9 billion to you and me sounds like a lot of money, but the company like, say, Google or Apple or Samsung or whatever, it's really not that much money in the overall scheme of things. And when you're talking about the collective Silicon Valley environment, $9 billion ain't a drop in the fucking bucket. $9 billion, nothing. All right? But they're not going to go to court. They are already in talks to settle, and they're trying to bring that number down because they don't want to have to deal with this shit again. Other people that are suing right now, there's an intern that worked on the movie Black Swan, and as an intern, he was pretty much a gopher. And as a gopher, what you do is you go for coffee, go for donuts, go for copies, go for, you go. You just go. You're told what to do, and you go. And this intern is alleging that it violated the federal labor laws in reference to interns. Now, the way it works, an internship, the way it's supposed to work is that the intern receives a greater benefit than the entity giving them an internship. Okay, so if I'm an intern and I get a job interning, say for, I don't know, Fox News or whatever, the idea is that what I get out of the internship is more than what they're getting out of me. Okay, the idea being that by working as an intern for free, I get real world experience at Fox News, in a news environment where I get to learn the ins and the outs of how the news is done, and then I can use that experience to parlay it into a real job later on down the road. Another way of it working is, say, if you're a student and you decide to intern for 3 or 4 months, you get school credit for that. It counts as one of your classes and counts towards your graduation. Boom, there you go. The only other type of internship is a paid internship, which I have done before here in Los Angeles. I was an intern over at CBS, and I did that for 1.5 years. Okay, but it was paid. But now Hollywood, though, survives on unpaid interns to the tune of roughly, are you ready for this, $2 billion a year worth of free labor that Hollywood gets out of these interns. Now, this guy's suing because he feels that he did not receive the education that he thought he was going to get, and he definitely did not get the post benefit that he thought he was going to get. He thought he was going to get a job somewhere. He thought he was going to be a director or an editor or whatever somewhere down the line. But no, he's still nothing. Now, the one side of this, of course, is it really fair to make people work for free? At the very least, they should get a tangible benefit out of this. Like, for instance, like I said, either money or school credit, or you really become educated on something. Okay, if you're interning at a studio, maybe you learn how to work the sound mixer. Maybe you learned how to work the editing machine. Maybe you learn something like that. Maybe you really pick something up. Maybe somebody showed you, hey, this is what we do. This is what we do here. Okay. But if all you did was go around, getting this guy a pillow or getting him coffee or filling up his car with gasoline, did you really get anything out of it? Now, the other side of this argument is this guy has been getting a lot of hate email, because people that are trying to get into the Hollywood system, who are trying to get, gigs as interns, are finding it very difficult to find gigs as interns because of his lawsuit. Nobody wants to take on unpaid interns because they don't want to get sued. But as far as they're concerned, they think that he's ruining the system because when you come into a system, you start at the bottom, you pay your dues, and you work your way up. I don't know. That's the way it's supposed to work, but for every from what I read, for every 20 interns that have an internship, 1 out of 20 actually parlays that into a job after the internship. So it's a pretty tough business. Okay, who else is suing who? Well, let's see. Apparently, let's see. A football team captain who was on the verge of heading off to college instead became a childlike invalid. One Edward Acuna was 17 years old when he was on the field at Pomona Gary High in October. There was a play. He sustained a helmet-to-helmet hit, which is a very dangerous hit, and something that these days the NFL will fine you for. But he got hit head-to-head, and now he's an invalid. Now he's pretty much a cripple. He's probably never going to walk again, and he's lost his short-term memory. He can't utter simple words, and he's partially paralyzed. Now the question is, he was wearing a helmet made by, I think, Rydell sports equipment, and they tried to sue. And Rydell Revolution Helmet. And they tried to sue Rydell Revolution Helmet for not being able to protect this kid from this injury. And my position is, it's not their fault. It's just not their fault. I'm sorry. You know what? They inspected the helmet. They found no structural deficiencies in the helmet. The helmet was to the exacting standards that they have. It was standard issue football helmet. But football is a full contact sport. And when I say full contact, I mean full contact. You've seen football, okay? Okay, soccer is a contact sport, but it's minimal, Basketball is a contact sport, but it's minimal. Baseball, minimal contact sport. Very, very, very minimal. But when you're talking about something like football or hockey, basically every play, somebody is smashing into another human being. Okay, that's what's happening. That is football. You are hitting somebody, or they're hitting you, or they're trying to hit you, or you're trying to hit them. And accidents are going to happen that cannot be foreseen, You are taking a risk every time you get on that field. My heart goes out to the guys out there who are brain damaged these days, who can barely stand up, they can barely write, they can barely do anything like this poor kid here, 17 years old. That's fucked. But I don't think that's Rydell's fault, okay? You have to assume some responsibility. You go into a sport that is defined by incredibly concussive hits, incredibly concussive plays. I mean, we're talking about poundings. And even when things are done right, there are still injuries, okay? We're talking about back injuries, head injuries, hamstring injuries, quadriceps, bones, arms breaking, legs breaking, ribs getting crushed. These things are going to happen because you decided to participate in a sport that is pretty much part and parcel of the entire game. And they do what they can to protect the players. Certain plays are illegal, certain moves are illegal, but sometimes certain moves happen by accident. I'd like to believe that whoever the other kid is, they gave him that helmet-to-helmet hit. His intention was not to cripple this kid. His intention was to do his job. He was a defensive lineman, and his job was to stop this kid from getting past him. Something happened. He slipped. He jerked. He went this way and went another, and contact was made. When I was playing a lot of basketball as a younger man, I used to get a lot of bullshit from other players because I played very hard defense, and I would get up in your face and I would try to stop you from moving. And every once in a while, boom, our knees would hit each other. I got headbutted a couple of times by accident. I put a couple of guys on the floor. My intention was not to do that, but if I'm defending you and you're trying to get around me, I'm going to try to get in front of you. And if I get into position and you run into me, guess what? You fouled me. The fact that you're hurt is kind of your problem. So again, I do feel bad for these guys, for the kid. I really do. Another company getting sued these days, McDonald's is getting sued. They're facing several lawsuits filed last week by the fast food workers who accused the burger giant of systematically stealing their wages and committing labor violations. Among the complaints, files in the Bay Area allege that McDonald's failed to pay employees for all hours worked, skimped on overtime wages and break time, and altered pay records. A fourth case adds similar claims to a lawsuit pending in Los Angeles County against McDonald's. Two lawsuits in Michigan allege that workers reporting on time for duty were regularly forced to wait until customers showed up before clocking in for pay. So you show up to work, but there's no customers, so you're not allowed to punch in, but you're not on a break either. And the complaints also accuse McDonald's and its franchisees of requiring workers to buy their own uniforms, the cost of which pushed their real wages below the legal minimum wage. Another one alleges that they were also forced to pay for having the uniforms cleaned, which is something that McDonald's is supposed to be doing themselves. Now, could you imagine that? Not only do you have the you have the dishonor of working at McDonald's. Not only do you have to wear that ugly ass outfit and smell like French fries for the rest of your fucking life, but now they're making you pay for it. Activists supporting the suit said the filings could be the first of many, inspired by more than a year of protest and rallies calling for 15-hour minimum wage and the right to form a union without retaliation from the fast food employers. Wow. And at that, we are going to take our second break. Here's more Proteus Noir with their song, Shine On Me. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I'm off the cuff.
Tower, surrounding everything I know. Here's this you, shining on me. My desperate moment, all those hopeless memories. Shine on me.
Joe the Shirt is once again off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for listening in. I'll try to keep the break short while I can. Oh, we are talking about lawsuits. Lots of lawsuits, man. We love to sue people in this country. We really do. I think the horrible thing, honestly, about a lot of frivolous lawsuits is the fact that then very, legitimate lawsuits get waysided. They disappear. They're treated as also as frivolous when they're not. Now, here's one more lawsuit here. The NFL is suing performer MIA for $16.6 million because back in 2012, she flashed the middle finger during the halftime show. The league said that the rapper-singer born Maya Arupragasam was in breach of contract that stipulated that her performance preserved the league's reputation for wholesomeness. Wholesomeness. The NFL. Anyway. And you know what? It's not just about people suing people. It's about people suing people because of their animals. I don't know if you heard the story of Charla Nash. Charla Nash is a woman who had a friend. Her friend Sandra Harold, who had a home in Stamford, Connecticut, back in 2009. And one day, Sandra Harold's pet got out, got off the property, and she called Charla to Nash to, help her get her pet and get it in the house. Now, Nash is 60 years old, which means at the time of this particular incident, she would have been about roughly 55 years old. Her friend was even older. Her pet was a 200-pound chimpanzee. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with chimpanzees. Chimps are, from what scientists will tell you, are roughly there's only about a 2% difference DNA-wise between a chimp and a human being. Okay? And put another way, you could say that a chimp is 98% human. Or that we're 98% chimp. I don't know. How do you want to do that? Okay, I don't know how you want to do that. But there's only about a 2% difference DNA-wise between us and chimps. Now, what that means is chimps are incredibly intelligent, much like human beings are. And they're also incredibly violent. They have the largest range of emotions of all of the great apes. They also have the biggest dicks, believe it or not. Chimpanzees have the biggest dicks of all the great apes. They're bigger than orangutans, bigger than gorillas, and bigger than ours. Okay, we actually have the second biggest dicks of all the great apes. There's this. It goes chimp, human being, gorilla, orangutan, and gibbon. That's the way it goes. Dick size. We're second. Why? Because our females tend to cheat on us more than other females. Like 500-pound gorilla's girlfriend is not going to cheat on him anytime soon. I don't think. That's why the average gorilla has a 2-inch dick. Anyway, enough of that. But but chimps are very intelligent. They're very emotional. They have a very complex structure in how they live their lives in a family unit, and they have been known to act out with great and sudden violence, not just against other animals, but against each other. Okay, chimps are among the few animals on the planet, besides human beings, that engage in murder and orgies and homosexuality on a regular basis. Yeah, chimps have like orgies, man. They have group sex all the time. And they also have riots. They have fights. They have wars with other troops of chimps. Chimps are so much like us. Chimps have all of our asshole qualities. Okay, and they're about like 6 times stronger than we are. So this is what happened. Poor Charlotte Nash. She goes to help her friend corral a 55-year-old and a 65-year-old woman trying to corral a 14-year-old 200-pound chimp. And what happened? Charlotte ends up getting mauled by the chimp, losing her face and her hands. The chimp bit them off. Okay? And I don't mean she bit them and there's a scar. I'm talking the woman's got no face. She's got no hands. She's blind because she's got no eyes. Okay? And upon the chimp's name is Travis, by the way. Travis the chimp. When the cops got there, they shot him dead. There was no we're not going to arrest Travis. Travis isn't going to go to court. Travis isn't going to go to jail. Travis isn't going to get a parole hearing. Okay, no. Travis got shot dead. And now before I go on here, I'll be the first one to. I don't blame Travis for this. Okay, I don't. Travis is a wild animal. He's a 200-pound, 14-year-old, which is decently young for a chimp. Okay, he's in his prime. 14-year-old, 200-pound chimp who should be in the jungle somewhere, but no. He's living in Connecticut. Not in a zoo, not in a preserve, not in the jungle. He's living in Connecticut. That's a bad idea. Okay, so when Travis loses his shit and decides to bite off this woman's face, which he did, and her hands. Oh, by the way, they built a face for her. She looks like a really stunned sex doll, which is pretty much what all sex dolls look like. I mean, you look at her, just vacant eyes, a nose, and a mouth is just slightly ajar. It's just horrible. And I do feel bad for her. And I don't blame her either. Well, I blame her for being stupid enough to think she could corral a chimp, And I blame her friend, who, upon her friend's death, she sued her friend's estate and got the vast majority of the estate. Let me see, to the tune of about $4 million. But that's nowhere near enough what Charlotte's going to need for the rest of her life in medical bills. For her care, she needs somebody to pretty much help her with everything. She doesn't have hands. They've tried giving her, get this, hand transplants. They've tried this, and twice now, and it just didn't work. It didn't take, because the connections just aren't there. It's such a delicate structure. It's just not there. And like I said, she is blind. She doesn't have a face. She has a bad doll's face. And so she decided she is going to sue the state of Connecticut because the state of Connecticut knew that Travis was in Connecticut. They knew where Travis lived. They knew who Travis's owner was. And they also knew that Travis had had a history of violent and scary behavior reported to them, to the state officials and local officials, by neighbors. But Connecticut is a very particular state. Connecticut is one of a handful of states with sovereign immunity, which protects it from most lawsuits seeking damages unless a claimant is granted permission. Now that's a handy little trick right there. Can you isn't that great? It's like, hey, yeah, we think you fucked up, and we'd like permission to sue you. Okay, let me think about it. You want to sue me because you think I fucked up. Nah, I don't think so. I'm not going to let you sue me. No, I don't think so. No. So you can just imagine just how often they grant somebody permission to sue them. Charlie Nash was suing for $150 million, which is pretty much what she's going to need to sustain her for the rest of her life. Her medical bills are outrageous. She needs constant, 24-hour day care. Her health is, questionable to begin with, and she can't work. She's done. Whatever it was she used to work for her friend, who's, chimp, almost killed her. So her job is gone. Her income is gone. She's got nothing. And Connecticut is maintaining that because it didn't happen on public land or on public property, it's not the public's fault. And Connecticut, the way it sees it, it's protecting itself from frivolous lawsuits brought against them from anybody that thinks that, the state of Connecticut fucked them over. And I'm just like, but you did fuck her over. Okay, like I said, I'll be the first one to admit, she was stupid to go there, a 55-year-old woman, and try to catch a 200-pound ape. I would, I wouldn't let I wouldn't let a full-grown 6'8" football player, I wouldn't advise him to try to go catch an ape by himself either, because the chimp will kick his ass. All right, that will happen. A chimp does not fight the way human beings fight. They fight to kill you, to win. All right, not like we do. So yeah, like I say, I part of the blame I do put on Charla and her friend. They should not have done that. They should have called animal control. Done something else, but not go after them yourself. But I do blame Connecticut because Connecticut, it is part of their job to protect their citizens from potential harm. And if they knew, and they did know, by the way, because there had been previous complaints about the chimp to them, if they knew that the chimp was a danger, then they should have done something previously. They should have removed the chimp from the premises. They should have taken the chimp to a preserve or a zoo or somewhere else that wasn't where the chimp didn't have access to the local public. And I think that they're being selfish piggies. It's absolutely awful. And finally, our last story of the day. As you know, Colorado has passed a recreational marijuana law. You can get stoned for fun in Colorado now. And that's great. And now, according to them, there comes a new problem. The problem being, they're afraid that people are going to start smoking and driving. They're afraid that, now that it's legal to smoke weed, that people are just going to start smoking weed and start driving all over the place. Now, a couple of quick issues here. One, it is legal to drink. We all know it's illegal to drink and drive. I'm pretty sure the people that smoke weed already know it's illegal for them to smoke and drive. But, that being said, they're making sure that they're training their officers to be able to identify somebody who they think may be under the influence of marijuana. I'm like, Didn't they have this information before? Anyway, that is my time. My clock is running out. Thank you for listening. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm Off the Cuff, and this is Sorry by Proteus Noir. Okay, get a little bit of a grace period here. Sorry, forget it. Hey, you know what? It happens. It's been a while since I've done it. But really, don't you think they should know by now? A cop should be able to tell if you're high. I mean, there's a good chance he sold you the weed to begin with. Take care of yourselves, guys.